Alright, that's my theme. I made it. If you steal it from me, you will be sued. But if you think my beats are dope or whatever, you can buy them from me if you want. Um, I still retain ownership of the rights to distribute them, and please do not try to take that away from me. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. Every year we hear about the popularity of soccer, quote unquote, in the United States and how it's growing. First of all, I have to mention two things here. The first one being that I really hate the term soccer. The second one being English people, stop blaming it on us. You're the ones that invented the term in the late 19th century, not Americans. We actually used football up until rugby football became popular in the United States, which is where we got the American football code from. Although it makes a lot less sense to call American football or rugby football than it does association football, which is also called soccer. But I wanted to kind of touch on the popularity of the sport here in my country, in the United States, because I honestly think that it's a bit underrated, but it actually has outperformed the NBA and the NHL. The NHL, the National Hockey League, hockey has traditionally been the fourth most popular sport in the United States, and basketball, depending on what time of year it is usually the second or third most popular. Comparatively, baseball is supposed to be the U.S. pastime, the American pastime, but lately, it's actually been, if you talk to most Americans, they could probably name more soccer players, footballers, than they could baseball players. Um, but I suppose there's a reason for that. It is the most popular sport in the world, and it should be the most popular in the United States. One thing I've always fancied about it is the fact that it's cross-culture. You don't have to be a certain way or a certain thing to play this game. You don't have to be, it might help if I were Brazilian to play it, but I'm not. I'm American. But at the same time, that also has a lot of negative consequences too, because I quite like the MLS, Major League Soccer, which is top tier in the United States and Canada. I quite like the MLS. I think their games are great. I think the players are great. But we still get bashed. We get bashed simply because we're American, not because our players can't play. Because my team, the Seattle Sounders, plays very well, and they regularly sell out games. And they're the only, as far as I know, the only MLS team that does it regularly. I never thought of Seattle as being very much of a footballing town, but what else is there to do there? I suppose the climate's not that different from England or Scotland. Dreary, overcast. It actually doesn't rain all that much in Seattle. There is precipitation, but it's more drizzle than anything else. I do think that the popularity of the sport in the United States is in fact growing, but it's not necessarily due to immigration. I think it has actual interest to do with it. Like the World Cup, the 2010 World Cup, set some records in the United States. It did. I mean, more people watched the World Cup final in 2010 than watched the World Series final in 2006. That's an amazement. And I love baseball, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's my second favorite sport. I grew up with it, so I mean, it's kind of ingrained in my brain. And I think that's another part of it. My generation, we were the first people to really, we weren't the first to really be playing soccer, but we were the first to where it was like, oh, okay, it's okay to do this. Because for a long time, and you will find this among some older folk, a long time, people were bashing it. And some people still do, and I still don't understand what Hank Hill's problem is, but he's a cartoon character, so I don't care. Um, but I think that the problem is not so much soccer or football, but it's the fact that it's overshadowed sometimes. Like what we unfortunately call football in the United States, they had the Super Bowl the other day. And there were more people watch that, the Super Bowl, than any other sporting event in the United States. It's about one-third of the entire U.S. population. Apparently Beyonce knocked out the lights. Anyway, if you're interested or whatever, leave comments on the video. I'll get back to them as soon as possible. I'd greatly be appreciated. And I want to know your take on this, on your take where soccer is going in the United States. Peace. Goodbye.